system calls and operating system generation. Learning objectives. At the end of this topic, you will be able to define the concept of system calls, discuss various types of system calls, explain system programs. Operating system services. An operating system provides specific services to programs and its users. These services differ in different operating systems. These services make the task of programming easier for its users. The services are classified into two sets, one for the users and the other for the system. They are users and system. Click on button to know more. User interface. Interfaces can take several forms. The general ones are: command line (CLI) uses text commands and a method for entering them. Batch interface uses directives to control commands entered into files for execution. Graphical user (GUI). It's a window system with a pointing device to direct I/O, menus for selection, and keyboard to enter text. Program execution. The system should be able to load and run a program with the program exiting from execution normally or abruptly. I/O operations. As users are restricted from I/O device control due to efficiency and protection issues, OS provides means to do I/O. File system manipulation. Access to file system is major part of program execution. Services are provided for permission management based on file ownership. Communications. Services for processes exchanging information, IPC, for both processes executing on the same system and on different systems. Error detection. Services are provided to elevate both users' and programmers' abilities to use the system efficiently. Resource allocation. Services are provided for CPU allocation, I/O devices allocation, to check memory availability and allocation. Accounting. Services are used to keep track of the resource, memory, and CPU usage by each user to improve computing services. Protection and security. Services ensure protected and controlled access to systems, resources, information, etc. System calls. To open a folder, browser, or any application, you double-click on the icon. The operating system understands that you want to open a folder, browser, or application and immediately opens one. Have you ever thought, how does the operating system understand user inputs such as clicking the mouse, typing from keyboard? Application Programming Interface. Application Programming Interface (API) is a language and message format used by an application program to communicate with the operating system or some other control program such as a database management system, DBMS, or communications protocol. A. Users or applications use APIs to communicate with operating systems. APIs use system calls to request any service from the operating system. System calls are defined as a request for service from an operating system's kernel. System calls provide an essential interface between a process and the operating system. system calls are mostly accessed through Application Program Interface (API). Now, you will see Application Programming Interface in detail. API is a programming interface for the services provided by the operating system. It specifies a set of functions which typically invoke actual system calls. Invoking a function in API is associated with a system calling kernel. Most common APIs used are Win32 API for Windows, POSIX API, all versions of Unix, Linux, and Mac OS X, Java API for the Java Virtual Machine, JVM. Benefit of programming using an API is program portability. APIs are widely used as system calls are very difficult to deal with directly. The diagram represents handling of a user application invoking the open system call. The system calls are categorized based on the task they perform. Click to navigate. Process control. A process or job requires various services during its execution. System calls under process control are end, abort. End if process halts its execution normally. Abort if process halts its execution abnormally. Load, execute. Create, process, terminate process. Get process attributes, set process attributes. Attributes such as process ID, parent ID, etc. Wait time, wait event, signal event. Allocate memory, free memory. Allocate memory is used when process requires memory space for execution. Free memory is used to free the allocated memory when process finishes its execution. Communications. Processes in the system communicate either directly or indirectly through messages. There are two common methods of inter-process communication. They are message passing model, shared memory model. The system calls used in inter-process communication include create, delete communication connection, send, receive messages, transfer status information, attach or detach remote devices. Information maintenance. The system calls are used for the purpose of providing system information such as date, time, and information regarding all the processes which is kept by the operating system. The system calls under information maintenance include get time, get date, set time, set date. Get system data, set system data. Get process, get file, get device attributes. Set process, set file, set device attribute. Device management. System calls in device management are essential as a process requires several devices during its execution. If resources are available, they are granted and control is returned after use. If not available, process waits until the device is available. System calls under device management include request device, release device, read, write, reposition, get device attributes, set device attributes, logically attach, logically detach. These enable to logically attach and detach devices to and from a logical partitions of operating system without rebooting. File management. File system management deals with many system calls. Create file, delete file, open, close. These are used to open and close a file whenever it is accessed. Read, write, reposition. Get file attributes, set file attributes. Attributes such as file names, etc. Drag. You will see how can parameters be passed to the system calls. For system calls to execute, they require more information than their identity in the form of parameters. 3 general methods used to pass parameters to the operating system. Simplest, pass parameters in registers. Table, pass address of the block or table as a parameter where parameters are stored. Stack, pushing parameters onto the stack. System programs. System programs are an important part of an operating system's structure. They provide a suitable environment for program development and execution. These are divided into different categories. File management. These programs create, delete, copy, rename, print, dump, list, and also manipulate files and directories. Status management. These programs provide status information of the entire system, such as available or free memory, disk space, performance, CPU utilization, logging, debugging, etc. File modification. Provide text editors to create, modify, search content in the files on the disk and other storage devices. Programming language support. Compilers, assemblers, debuggers, and interpreters are provided by the OS. Program loading and execution. System provides loaders, relocatable loaders, linkage editors, and overlay loaders for execution of a program. Communications. Mechanisms for creating virtual connection between processes, users, and systems are provided. System programs. In addition to the above-mentioned system programs, most operating systems provided programs used for solving problems and operations, web browsers, word processors, text formatters, spreadsheets, database systems, compilers, plotting, statistical analysis packages, games. Operating system generation. Operating systems are designed to run on any of a class of machines. A process where a system is generated or configured for each specific computer site is called system generation, sysgen. The sysgen program obtains information concerning the specific configuration of the hardware system or probes the hardware directly to determine what components are there. The following kinds of information must be determined: which CPU is to be used, what options are to be installed. For multiple CPU systems, each CPU must be described. How much memory is available? What devices are available? Desired operating system options such as number of buffers to be used, their size, type of CPU scheduling algorithm desired, and so on. Summary. Let us summarize. Operating system services make the task of programming easier for its users. System calls are requests for service from an operating system's kernel. Process control system calls are various services required by a process during its execution. File management includes systems calls for file operations. System calls in device management take care of the resource requirements of a process during its execution. The system calls under information maintenance provide system information such as date, time, and information regarding all the processes. Communication system calls are used for processes communication. System programs provide a suitable environment for program development and execution. A process where a system is generated or configured for each specific computer site is called system generation, sysgen.